This is the 1972 AMC Gremlin. And if any car ever can claim that beauty is in the eye of the beholder, well, it's this one. The Gremlin is world-renowned as one of the most hilariously odd cars of all time. I mean, look at it. And when it came out, reviews were all over the board. Consumer Reports gave it the top rating among 6 subcompacts that they tested. And Mechanics Illustrated said it was dollar for dollar the best American buy of the year. Business Week, on the other hand, included it in a list of the ugliest cars of the past 50 years. And Time magazine dubbed it one of the worst cars of all time. But in a way, there's something endearing about it. What was most endearing about it was the price. When the little Gremlin first went on sale, it cost just $1,879. It's only $14,000 to us now. And that's a good price. And when I say good price, that's comparative. The Gremlin was a certain product for a certain time. In the 1960s, American Motors Corporation sold quite a few cars, like the Rambler, but they were lagging behind Ford, GM, and Chrysler, the big three. They needed a subcompact that could compete with domestic competition, like the Chevy Vega and Ford Pinto, and imports like the Beetle. They needed something small and lightweight, easy to park, efficient, and something with better build quality than domestics were currently known for. And AMC had just purchased Jeep, so money was kinda tight. They also had just spent on developing the all-new Hornet, and that's where their recipe for success would play into this thing. The Gremlin was derived from the Hornet, which in and of itself was a pretty convenient car. Cars built in the US at that time, unlike their imported counterparts, were sold under the concept, bigger is better. I hope that isn't true. Each model year got more power, more size, and more chrome. And most of the time, all three in unison. So when the 70s rolled around, it was shell shock. It led to ads which AMC played into the humor of the Gremlin. They even introduced the car on April Fool's Day in 1970. They had commercials that basically said, hey, we know it's not that great, but at least you won't be paying a lot for it. AMC used an existing straight-six engine from their stockpile and gave it a live rear axle out back, hung by leaf springs. In comparison, Chevy was developing for the Vega a new aluminum 4-cylinder engine and coil spring rear suspension. The Gremlin got fitted with 4-wheel drum brakes, a 3-speed manual transmission without a synchronizer for first gear, and the back seat. That was an option. AMC knew build quality wasn't the best on domestic cars at the time. In order to keep the body stiff, they decided not to fit it with a hatchback, or a trunk lid for that matter. Instead, what little cargo space the Gremlin had was accessed by lifting this little rear window. On 4-seat Gremlins, that is. On 2-seat Gremlins, the rear window was fixed in place entirely. The Gremlin was meant to be a subcompact, but it was built with all the mechanical bits meant for bigger vehicles. There just wasn't the time to shrink down the front end like Chevy did with the Vega and Ford with the Pinto. So AMC just chopped the back off. The Gremlin holds the distinction of offering one of the widest engine ranges of all time, from 2 liters to 5. And this one, being in 1972, was the first year a 5-liter V8 was available. And this one does not have it. Under that hood, we've got the 4.2-liter, 258 cubic inch inline 6. And this wasn't the base engine. That was the 3.8-liter straight 6. The longer stroke 4.2-liter was an option. And it was good for, ready? Wait for it, brace yourself, 110 horsepower. Yes, that's right, simmer down. how she does. Full throttle. My oh my. My goodness gracious. That is the speed. Nope, we're not doing the speed limit quite yet. And it sends those wild American horsepowers to the rear wheels through a now Chrysler-sourced 3-speed torque flight automatic.
A big inline 6 might not sound like the recipe for economy, but it was much more frugal than the big block V8s of the time.
It made the Gremlin faster than the Volkswagen Beetle, and hardly an inch and a half longer than it. It could hit 60 miles an hour in the 11 to 12 second range, when the Pinto and Beetle were in the 18 second range. The top speed? We don't know, actually, and I'm not sure that I should be the one to find out. Maybe George Bush knows. He drove one of these things when he went to school at Harvard.
During its 9-year run, drivers in the US and Canada bought 671,000 Gremlins, with sales peaking at 171,000 in 1974.
And as popular or as unpopular as they may seem, from the looks that I'm getting today, I'd think I was in a Lamborghini until I look down at the steering wheel and see that I presume it's a Gremlin staring back at me in the center. And you can kind of like bend the steering wheel. Sure, it might have been just basic transport, but it's got a sense of humor about it. It looks like a car that's been chopped in half. So if all you were looking for was basic transportation, why not at least laugh about it? And it's crazy that this might be one of the nicest ones left in existence. I mean, you think of how many of these things were crashed, totaled, crushed, rusted away, or people threw them away. And this one is all original. Original paint, original interior, with just 25,000 miles on it. I mean, it is mint. You just don't see these. But thank you guys very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. Happy motoring.